Nathan Crampy here. I recently hosted the 8,000 Days of Retirement. Here's a clip from that webinar. So we have the 4 phases of retirement that we are going to be looking at here. So you see the phases of just our life in those 8,000 day segments, but let's break down the phases of retirement. Well, we have, like I said, the 4 of them. We have the honeymoon phase, we have the big decision phase, we have navigating the longevity, and then we have the solo journey. Now, each one of these phases are a little bit different, and some will bleed into others. So we may have the honeymoon phase leading into the big decision phase, and they may not be specific periods. And I would actually venture to guess some of you have been in these phases and just never kind of figured or had a name for them. But that's, again, what Dr. Joe has been working on and really researching and bringing that forward to our discussion. Well, let's dive in. Let's go to the first one, the honeymoon phase. This is the exciting part of retirement. Like I said, those 24,000 days of you having a schedule to keep go away. And no longer are you dictated or managed by your calendar. Now you choose what you want to do. You choose the fun you get to have. You choose where you want to go. And this can be daunting at times as well. That's why you can see there's many different websites that are out here that are kind of ready to help you pick and choose what to do. Okay, let me show you this here. This is just quite odd. Take a look at this. This is 101 awesome things to do in retirement. But take a look at the people here. I would venture to guess that every person in this picture is probably 20 years old or younger. I want to know what they did to retire at 20. I don't know. Just a question that I have when I saw this. But they do have a lot of different websites out there that you can go to and just help put together some thoughts for this kind of period of time. But you also, coming back to what the honeymoon phase is a chance for you to check off all of those things off of your bucket list. That's the fun part about this phase. You get to check things off of your bucket list. You have a lot of things that you can be accomplishing, people you're seeing, and the enjoyment behind that. Well, over time, though, your bucket list is going to start getting accomplished. You're not going to be as in need, so to speak, to go out and travel again or trying to make things happen as fast as possible, because you're still in a phase that you still have time to enjoy doing things in the future. So now you start to slow down. Well, this could be a year into retirement, 3 years, 5 years. Everyone is different. So your phase and your period in this honeymoon phase is going to look different than your friends and your family and your neighbors. But you are going to have excitement here. Now, what happens when we make the switch and we no longer need to be doing all the travel and to be doing all the things that we wanted to do? Well, that's where we start thinking about what's next. You see, this is also a phase that we are going to be spending more money than normal in retirement. So this is going to be leisure, activities, the things we like to do. That's what we'll be spending our time on in retirement here. Well, what happens when we're in need of maybe a little more structure? That's where work can come back into play. And I'm not talking about work that would be necessarily something that is a have to. It's a want to. So let's dive in and take a look at that as well. Okay, so today we have a lot of things that can happen where they never before could happen in this way with respect to work. I'm talking about the gig economy. Now, the gig economy is fantastic because what this allows you to do is be your own boss, set your own schedule, come and go as you choose, and still make a little bit of money on the side. That sounds pretty good to me. And so whether you want to go driving others around, so for Lyft or Uber, that can be a very interesting way to make a little side money. I was talking with a gentleman who was driving for Lyft and Uber a while back here, and he had over $11 million. He didn't need to work. So I was just asking him, why was he driving like this? And his answer was because he enjoyed the social aspect so much that he wanted to continue to just drive and to meet people. So for him, this was a social deal. Well, that's what this type of work can be. You set your own schedule, you set your own pace, you set when you want to work, and you set where you want to work. See, some of these things you don't need to be at your own home. You can be anywhere and do this. So you could be going down south for the winter, and you could decide one day you just want to drive around, and in order to do that, let's just pick up some people. Well, your phone will make that happen as well. Or maybe that's not for you. Maybe driving is not for you, but you love pet sitting. You love pets in general. Well, that pet sitting is an incredible piece of it, and I kind of equate this a lot to your grandkids. What you love about your grandkids is that they get to come over, you get to see them, play with them, be with your kids as well, maybe have dinner, and just enjoy being around them. And then they go home. And then they leave. So you don't have all the details with that. Well, the same thing is true with pets. You see, when you're pet sitting, they come, you get to have fun, you get to have all the enjoyment of the pet, you get to do a lot of things, provide them dinner the same way, and then they go home. So pet sitting for some of you may actually be an incredible opportunity to have in retirement as well. So we have these different gig economies. Well, again, that may not be for you. Maybe you're just more of the art type. And I have my father-in-law who does art all day, every day, and he's becoming quite the artist. Well, he can go on to different websites and he can sell his art if he chooses. And again, this is on his terms, his price, so he can set all the different details of this. And that is one of the special aspects of this new type of economy called the gig economy. So whether it's artwork, pet sitting, whether you want to go to estate sales and resell online, all of that comes back down to just the fun nature you can have and the terms you can dictate in retirement. Well, also, some of you may feel that that's not for you, but you want to have more structure in formal work and maybe doing some of the things that you used to be doing. Well, a lot of companies now are actually allowing you to work remotely so you don't have to come into the office. And you may be a contract worker then, so you don't have to deal with the meetings, you don't have to deal with the politics, you don't have to deal with anything, deal with all of those different aspects of what a full-time worker would have to deal with. But you can still get a great paycheck. You still have a time frame that you'd be working for. And once that's up, you can decide if you'd like to renew it or not. And again, this can happen wherever you have an internet connection and a cell phone. So whether you are wintering down south, traveling in Europe, or just again in your own home, you can choose sometimes when to work. And with internet connection basically available all around the world, this can be a very easy thing for you to do as well. So that's one of the fun natures of retirement. And again, what you can be doing in this honeymoon phase. And like I said, this is something that for most of you is not a have to. For most of you, it's a want to, because you want to stay involved. You want to stay active. You want to stay all kind of mentally prepared for the future as well. And working can provide a lot of that structure, mental stimulation, and just the social aspects. So you can actually enjoy your time not only in retirement, but also while you're just having some fun and receiving a little bit of money on the side. Well, like I said, for most of you it's not a need to, but some of you may actually want to get a little bit extra money for helping with the grandkids, or some of you may actually be helping to fund some of your adult children and their endeavors as well. And a couple of you may actually be helping your parents. So having that little additional income can be very helpful to navigate this and to help with making sure that everyone that you care about is taken care of. Yes, it is true, though, that some of you have a pension, and some of you expect to have a pension that may not be there. So this is the reason why we take what you want to do in retirement and run this through the filter of all of the different aspects and avenues of a good wealth plan, so that we never have something out of line with money expectations and how that works with what you want to do and are looking forward to doing in retirement. So that's where we put together a good wealth plan. And a good wealth plan just encompasses basically some of the investment management side of things and making sure that we're in the correct places for some of your investments. But a great wealth plan encompasses many different avenues. So we have the values, your goals that you have. We have the relationships, your interests, the assets. So all of that comes into play. Fixed income, taxes, your retirement accounts, wealth preservation, so how we are preserving the wealth that you've accumulated all of these years. How do we put a transfer of your wealth in place for the future? Charitable gifting. Yes, it does come back to investment management, but then we have others, like what does it mean to have Medicare and your supplemental plans taken care of? Asset protection, so that your assets aren't unjustly taken. And if you still are part of your business or your company that you started, well, that business enrichment all comes back to it. And so once we have that plan for how you want to spend your time, now we can put together the wealth plan that's actually going to be what you need and not just to set it and forget it.